Welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast, hosted by Christen Clark. This is a show for kids and families. You are going to meet new people and have fun while you listen. Let's do it!
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast. I'm your host, Christen Clark. The Collide Kids Podcast is a show for kids and families where we learn together how life and faith collide. I am so glad that you're listening today. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me. If this is your first time listening, I just want to say welcome. I'm glad you're here too. I hope you stick around and come back for more. Hey, be sure to listen to the end of every episode. That's where we have the kids only segment where kids just like you get to be on the podcast. Well, speaking of the kids only segment, I think it would be fun to have a little contest in honor of April Fool's Day, which is coming up pretty soon. And I think it's a great day to tell a joke, right? So for the next few weeks, we're going to have a kids-only joke contest. Parents can help their kids send in a video or audio recording of your best joke to the Collide Kids Podcast website. Just click on Kids Only, or you can send it to me through Facebook and Instagram. Just say your name and then tell me your joke. Now, every entry will be featured on a future episode of the Collide Kids Podcast for sure. But the winner with the best joke is going to win a really cool prize. Be sure to follow the Collide Kids Podcast on Facebook and Instagram to learn more. Well, in case you guys missed it, a few weeks ago, I announced that I am joining a podcast network with River Radio, and I'm so excited to be a part of this network. I've made a lot of new friends, and they have some really awesome other shows that you could check out and enjoy. Well, let's get to our guest today because I do not want you guys to miss out on this. You know, one of my favorite things to do is to laugh. And I love when I get a chance to laugh with my family and my friends. And today I'm going to get to laugh with you because I got a chance to talk with Cool Carll, also known as Josh, and his best friend Andy. They are content creators who love Jesus and make silly videos to prove it. Living in sunny Florida, the guys not only help run a t-shirt company called Sunday Cool, but also host a hilarious comedy podcast called Ninjas Are Butterflies. They have many things in common, such as they both have a wife and two daughters, and they both enjoy watching each other trip every now and then. Listen, I'm a big fan of these guys, and I love being silly, so I love that I got to talk and laugh with these guys today. I think you are going to laugh today, too. Here is my conversation with Cool Carll and Andy.
Whatever you like. I'm Josh, and my character is Cool Carll. So okay. Whatever you want to do.
Okay. Well, you guys, I am so excited to have Cool Carll, also known as Josh, and Andy on the podcast today. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. We're thrilled to be here.
Very thrilled.
Yeah, I got to meet you guys at the Children's Pastors Conference a few months ago, and I was so excited to get to talk to you guys today. So thank you guys for being here. Will you just give us a short intro, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name's Josh. You might or might not know me by the character I play. His name is Carl, or Cool Carll, as some like to say. But with two L's, Carl with two L's. That's how cool he is. But I do, me and Andy do videos for churches, youth groups, kids' church, all that kind of stuff. And we have a podcast as well called Ninjas Are Butterflies, where we just like to goof off and have fun.
And I'm taller than him.
No.
I totally am. I'm very much taller than
He looks
Josh.
taller than me right now, but he has a larger torso than me.
I have
really long legs, though.
Okay.
I think I have the world's longest torso.
Probably.
Andy's
actually only 4'3".
4'3". It's all the angle.
All torso.
All torso.
I can tell this is going to be a wild ride.
Tell them who you are.
My name's Andy, and I live in Florida with Josh. I don't live with him, but we live nearby each other, and we work together, and we make crazy videos together. I have 2 kids. He has we both have 2 daughters.
2 daughters.
Wow, cool.
Mine are older, so they're winning, and so yeah, I get to just make goofy videos for a living, and I do a lot of writing for the videos too. So I have a lot of fun. We have a ton of fun here.
This is going to be so funny. Okay. I can't wait to talk to you guys. Thank you guys so much for doing this. Okay. Before we get started, because this is a podcast for kids, I always make my guests tell me a joke. So do you have a joke for us today?
I have jokes, but I want Josh to come up with one too.
I can't come up with a joke.
I'm gonna do a joke that my daughter taught me first. I'll do 2.
Okay.
Now, why did the chicken go to the other side of the park?
I don't know.
Why?
To go to the other slide.
Oh.
All right. Another one is yeah. Another one is it's imagine you're at like a rally. What do we want? Low flying airplane noises. When do we want it? Meow.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
I
like that one.
That's a good...
Meow.
Meow.
Yes, that one redeemed you. The first one was,
It was just warming up. This is a little
This
appetizer.
is a classic.
You could
that was
say-
good.
What do we want? Cats that can't properly say meow. When do we want it?
Meow. That's good.
Yeah.
There you go. You got one in. That's good.
All right.
Nice.
I steal
Okay.
Andy's jokes all the time.
Just make them better.
I just make them better and louder.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about how you guys started working together.
So we work for a company called Sunday Cool, where we primarily print T-shirts for churches, camps, any event really. Pizza shops, Radio Shack, if they're still in business. But I was blessed enough. My dad owns the company, and he just wanted me to start making funny marketing videos for the company, which, long story short, ended up me making videos for youth groups, children's church. We started doing videos for Grow TV, and Andy came in about 3 years ago.
Yep.
It started off, he used to be a youth pastor in Missouri, Joplin, and he was just so funny on Facebook and stuff and making funny videos. So I had him start writing some scripts for some of my videos. Long story short, we hired him and we kidnapped him and brought him here to Florida, where he is now held captive.
Yep. Until they said until you start write a certain amount of viral hits, they won't release me, and so I'm here in Florida. Yeah, but it's okay. They feed me. They pay me in T-shirts. We're doing great.
Yeah.
We're having a lot of fun. But yeah, but when I got here in 2019, we've just he was by himself, and so he needed some help just making videos. And then when I got down here, we just got to make videos every single week and goof off and come up with funny ideas. And now we've gotten the chance. God's given us an opportunity to travel and meet really cool people and start a podcast of our own. So it's just it's been a blast.
Yeah.
It's been a great time.
We even got to meet the cast and crew from The Chosen recently, which was super cool. They invited us to their premiere for their 3rd season.
Yeah.
So we got to meet the guy who plays Jesus, and it's not Jesus, but he's a cool dude.
Nowhere near
Glad
as
you
cool as
clarified.
Jesus, but he was cool.
Yeah. His name's Jonathan.
Nice. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
so neat how you started working in a T-shirt company and it just kind of blew up. That's great.
Yeah, it's really weird and it doesn't make sense, but we're going along with the ride. So
We're here for it.
Yeah.
How did your dad know that you were good at making videos?
All the time growing up, I'm the middle child, which you would say the middle child syndrome of not getting full attention from my parents. And so I was always dressing up as like Power Rangers or ninjas, and I would steal my parents' camera and like make videos and stuff with it. So there's a ton of home videos that I mainly filmed as a kid. Not the best content or quality, but so my dad, he's just like, you just got to start making videos for the company. I said, I can do that.
It took off.
It really did.
Anything
It
to
really
get your
did.
attention, Dad.
This poor middle child. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
So you're making these videos now. What inspired the character Cool Carll, and what makes him cool?
I don't know what makes him cool. I just kind of called myself that, and it stuck. But it started off. So my dad's like, "Hey, can you just make a marketing video, like a funny marketing video?" And he's like, "All right." I said, "Do you want me to play like a character?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess." And so I put on a sweater, and then put on these glasses. I go, "Hey, my name's Carl." But originally it was Conservative Carl. And then people said, "You don't look very conservative because you kind of look like a hobo hippie." And so I slowly turned it into Cool Carll because Sunday Cool Carll.
Okay.
And my dad's like, "Yep, that's fine."
People
That
loved
works.
it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so now you guys create all this content you have a podcast, you have YouTube videos. So what is it like being someone that creates video content like that?
It's really cool. It's kind of cool to see how God has been working. It's just been a very humbling experience altogether because we're not geniuses at social media or marketing or whatever, but we just like to be authentic and have fun. And luckily God put an audience out there that enjoyed listening to us talk about farts.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are two very imperfect people, and I think that's what makes it even funnier that God uses, because we love making videos. We both grew up making videos and always wanted to make people laugh with our silly voices or silly ideas. And so the fact that God can use guys that look like us and use that to further the kingdom or just to open the door to have really cool conversations, I think it's neat. I think we're both super grateful for it, and it's just been a lot of fun the whole way through.
Yeah, and I love what you said that God, he's using you, like you're so good at being silly, and that's something that we can use for God, just like anything else. I think it's kind of funny how so many people don't know how joyful the Bible is and how joyful Christians should be, how joyful people that follow God should be, and silly and humor is a part of that. So why do you think being fun and being funny is important in your faith? We'll be right back after this. Raising kids in the digital age isn't easy, but Bark Technology makes products that help parents keep their kids safe online and in real life. They have an app, a phone, and a home device that lets families set parental controls on their internet-connected devices. I love the app because it helps us manage screen time and blocks websites and apps we want our kids to avoid. It also sends alerts and gives us the ability to monitor texts and social media and even track your child's location. Visit bark.us to learn more about how you can keep your kids safe online. Use the code COLLIDEKIDS to get 15% off your subscription of the Bark app.
I think, one scripture says, "Rejoice in the Lord always." And again, I say rejoice. They said it twice, so it has to mean something pretty important, right?
Right.
But we're made in God's image, and part of that is humor and laughter and just being able to just have fun, and we're trying to take that and apply it back to his kingdom, of like being fun and funny, but always our mindset and direction is towards God. So I think it's very important in your faith to have a good laugh every now and then, or all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, this literally science tells us that there's things that go on in our brain and our heart whenever we laugh and we feel, joy of that level. It's like it actually is good for us. And so even, if you're not even talking about spiritually, people of this world, scientists that may not believe in God's existence or whatever, there's no denying that joy and laughter literally is so good for the body. And the fact that God created it that way, because I know, like, I've laughed at, there's been times where it's like we're in here just crying, laughing over something silly, and then there's been times where I've been at funerals and there's somebody making a joke, and it's a wholesome remembrance of the person who had passed, and everyone's joining in laughter together. And it's just there's such a pureness to having fun and laughing. And so the fact that we be able to look at everyday things that happen in the church or in our lives and be able to make jokes about them, and hopefully they're relatable to whoever's watching, it's just a cool opportunity. We love doing it.
That's awesome. What are the things that inspire your silliness or your humor? Where do you get all your jokes from?
I have told people that if they could look inside my head, they would be afraid, because I think Andy and myself, we just view the world differently, and we can just make anything fun or funny all the time. In fact, our office kind of looks like the inside of my brain, to where it's just a bunch of craziness. But yeah, and then we have inspiration from funny movies, comedians,
Our kids.
Definitely our kids.
I think just looking at life with it, once you start having that appreciation for what God's doing in your life, and you wake up grateful, and you're thankful for the opportunity, and so you allow your mind just to be open to whatever crosses your path and be able to make lighthearted jokes. And I love picking on Josh and vice versa, I'm sure, with him. So it's just, but to have that friendship and have that just the community that we've helped build here really helps make an environment that's really healthy to be silly, and the freedom to have creative ideas and go and make them a reality.
Yeah. And I love that you guys get to do that. That's your job. You get to just sit around and think of funny things, right?
It's the best job.
It is the best job.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your podcast. What was the name of it? It's
called Ninjas Are Butterflies.
Can you explain the name and how you came up with that?
Yeah. Well, on our podcast, we say it's a secret, or we'll tell them at the end of when we're going to not do the show anymore. But for you guys, I will tell you why we named it this.
We have not released this to the public yet, so you guys
are
are
the first.
Secret content.
Yeah. So we wanted to do a podcast for forever, probably since Andy came here 3 years ago. And then we finally decided a year ago, let's do it. And so we got the podcast equipment, but we didn't start for another 6 months, because I'm like, we need to come up with a name that doesn't tie us down to one subject. And so, because we didn't want to call it the Cool Carll podcast or the whatever. Like
silly, goofy time podcast.
Yeah, we wanted it to be random, to where we could talk about everything and anything, But we couldn't think of a name. And then one night I had a dream that when ninjas die, they become butterflies. I told you, my brain is really weird. And so I came in the next day. I said, hey, Andy, what if we named the podcast Ninjas Are Butterflies? And he's like, yeah, sounds good.
Sounds great. It doesn't make sense, so it's perfect.
Makes sense. So that's where the name came from.
And we started the podcast because we make videos every week, but those are usually just characters, and we don't usually get to be ourselves. So the podcast is almost like a high-energy version of our normal selves, and so we can be vulnerable. We can talk about things that we're thinking, or things that we're doing in real life, and so people can actually get to know us personally, and vice versa. Like, we can finally get to have conversations with the people who watch our stuff, just like you. And it's like, just to be able to have that interaction has just been really cool, and to flex our muscles of creativity and improv and just having fun in conversation. It's just it's been a blast. So the podcast has been really fun, just to be able to talk about literally whatever we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've listened to some of it. It's a wild ride for sure. It's very random,
it is wild.
It's very fun. It's very fun. So you guys are doing this. You're creating podcasts. You're creating videos. Let's think about there's some kids out there, I'm sure they're listening right now, that love to make videos. They would love to be a YouTuber or someone that creates stuff like this. So what advice would you give them?
Just be yourself. Don't copy anyone because God made you very individualistic.
Yeah, he
Is that-
he made you
Kinda sounds
specifically to be
smart.
you, and whatever you find interesting, whatever you want to, make content about, do it. Don't do what other people are doing. I mean, learn from other people.
Yeah.
But do what makes you laugh. Do what makes you happy, and make content that makes you happy because at the end of the day, it's yours, and you want to be proud of it. And
There's going to be people that enjoy the same things you do because Andy and myself, we're just our authentic selves on our podcast and on our videos and stuff. And surprisingly, a lot of people like listening to us.
And I was nervous about it. I tell Josh that all the time. I was nervous about starting the podcast because I had to be myself, and I was sure that people would like characters that we play, but I wasn't sure if people would actually like me from myself. And whether they like me or not, they think that we're funny, and that's great. That's what we set out to do. Technically we are comedians that we just want to make people laugh, and so that's the cool thing is. Even me, even though I've been doing this for a long time, I don't know about Josh, but I get nervous that people won't like our stuff. But in reality, I know that God has a plan and a purpose for us and has put us here to do crazy, silly things like what we're doing. So it excites me.
Yeah. I think one of the things for me is that I love what I'm doing. Like you said, just be authentic and just do what makes you happy and what you enjoy. And then people are going to connect to that joy that you have. And it might be later. Like, that's the great thing about the internet is that these things live on forever. And so maybe your videos or something doesn't connect right away, but at some point someone's going to stumble upon this. And then if they can find out about who you are and they can learn more about God from your content, then I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, and God's been able to use some of our content that I made a while back. It was called How to Speak Gen Z. It was one of our more popular videos, but God used that to where we ended up being able to write a devotional for teenagers called The Word According to Gen Z. There's a lot of story around that, but we ended up selling over 10,000 copies, and the whole purpose was just to get the Word of God in kids' hands and just have them just have a deeper connection to God's Word. So that was really cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's so neat how that just came together from a video.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so I know that there might be some parents or teenagers that would be familiar with Cool Carll, but for our kids, could you introduce Cool Carll to our listeners right now?
So
I don't know.
Here we go.
So I usually start off the videos.
Become another person.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Become another person.
Hey there, you little chicken nuggets. It's me, Carl. I love dancing in the streets, but only in the daylight, not at night, because the night scares me.
Carl, do you collect any things?
I do.
What do you collect?
Marbles.
Ooh.
I collect used rubber bands. I collect dog hair.
Nice. Where were you born, actually?
I was born in the swamps of Florida.
Okay.
In a swamp.
All right.
In a swamp. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And my one piece of advice is to never eat raw chicken, because I have tried to, and I had to go to the hospital.
I love
Are you
it.
okay?
And that's Carl.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks for visiting. Very cool.
See you guys. Okay, I'm back.
Great job, Josh. Thanks for bringing him
Magic.
in here.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Carl.
He can leave now. That's awesome. Well, you guys, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing your story. I love all that you shared. So encouraging. And where can our listeners find out more about Cool Carll and Sunday Cool Teas?
Yeah, you can go to our YouTube, which is just Sunday Cool, and that has all of our videos, all of our skits, all of our podcasts, and then we're also on pretty much every social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook even.
Yep.
Possibly have a MySpace,
Everywhere.
I think.
Ooh.
Dig a hole in your backyard. We might be there.
Yep. But mainly our YouTube, Sunday Cool, is where all of our content goes, so...
That's great. Very cool. Well, before I let you guys go, I always like to ask my guests to share a memory from when they were a kid. So you have a memory you want to share with us?
Yes. You go first.
What? I was trying to think of one.
I'll go first.
Okay.
This is the only memory that has popped in my head, and I think I even talked about it on the podcast. But when I was little, I think I was around. Actually, I didn't talk about this on the podcast. When I was about 5, I used to love playing with G.I. Joes, and I would like bring them outside and like have like adventures and stuff with them. And I found a rope, and I threw it over a tree limb and tied my G.I. Joe to the rope, and then lit the rope on fire so the G.I. Joe could like escape. But it was traveling up this rope really fast. And then my dad ran out there and cut the rope down and yelled at me because I could have caught the whole neighborhood on fire. So that's a memory.
Yeah, that is a memory.
So don't play with fire.
Did the G.I. Joe make it?
He did make it,
Okay.
thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good. And the tree made it as well.
it did. Barely.
Thanks to Dad.
Thanks to Dad.
Save
Don't
the
play
day.
with fire, kids. Okay.
Don't play with fire.
Andy, what about you?
I think I was going to tell about that Frisbee story of me getting hit with a Frisbee.
That's a good one.
Okay, all right. So this is kind of a longer story, but I'll try to sum it up real quick. I traveled a lot as a kid, and so it was my first day at a new school. It was my first day of 5th grade, and our first class was PE, so we had to take my shoes off and run on the court and everything, and I'm having a blast, and I don't really know anybody, but then this kid named Channing, we still have issues to this day. He turns around and he throws a Frisbee right at my face, and he said it was by accident, but I don't know who's to say. And so I get hit, and then immediately I have a huge bloody nose, and it goes all over my pants, shorts, and then all over my shirt. And they dismiss the class and everything. Everyone goes back to class, and they have to find me new clothes, but they had to go to the lost and found, and only thing in the lost and found was a like bright pink dress that I had to wear as a 5th grader, 5th grade boy. And they had little shorts, but they were like shorts, and so they were underneath the dress, and so you couldn't tell. And so they're like, okay, go to class. And I said, okay. And then apparently Channing was trying to be nice, and he's like, well, Andy left and he forgot his shoes, and so I'll take him. And so I was going to walk back to class, but the classroom was across the street, down a couple blocks, because it was just a weird school system. And so instead the PE teacher said, well, you can't walk there barefoot, so I'll give you a piggyback ride. And so on my first day of school, I arrived to the classroom in front of all my peers, all my friends, on the back of a PE teacher, my PE teacher, Miss Kepley, in a pink dress with no shoes. And that was probably the most embarrassing story of my life. So,
wow,
Channing, if you're listening, we need to talk.
Channing. I'm also kind of upset with that PE teacher for finding you a pink dress.
Yeah.
There's not a basketball jersey somewhere or something. Yeah.
I would have, if I was Andy, I would have asked just to go to jail or something. That would be less humiliating.
Can I go set a tree on fire?
Can I go set a tree on fire and just take me away?
That's pretty embarrassing. Wow. Well, that'll be a comfort to anyone else that goes through something like that. Though at least it wasn't.
Yeah. Hopefully
at least I
no
didn't
one's
get hit in
going
the
through
face by
exactly that
Channing.
situation.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. That felt very deep. But
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing your story. This was great.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It
Thanks
was
for
so
having
fun.
us.
Wow, we just got lots of exclusive content from Cool Carll and Andy. They were sharing their embarrassing stories, and they shared where their podcast name came from, Ninjas Are Butterflies. I feel very privileged to have listened today and to have learned all of this with you. You know, Andy said something I really liked. He said they are just two very imperfect people that love making videos and wanting to make people laugh. And so the fact that God can use that to further the kingdom and they can use it to talk with others about God It's just so amazing. And I love how grateful they are that they get to do the job they do. I also love when Josh said that because we are made in God's image, it has to include fun and humor. And it's so important to your faith to laugh and to be joyful. Like he said, the Bible says rejoice. Again, I say rejoice. It says it twice. So that should mean something that it's pretty important. Well, if you'd like to learn more about Cool Carll and Andy and watch some of their crazy videos, be sure to go over to their YouTube page, Sunday Cool. You can also check out their website, sundaycool.com, and you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Well, now it's time for the kids only segment. This is the part of the show where you get to be on the podcast. So here is my friend, Quinn.
Hi, my name is Quinn, and my joke is, what do you call a burrito in an ice cube? A burrito.
A burrito. I love that joke. Thank you, Quinn. That was awesome. And you know what? Quinn has been entered into the kids only segment joke contest with that entry, and he got to be on the podcast today. So that was awesome. So if you would like to be on the podcast just like Quinn was and submit your joke and be in the running for the Collide Kids Podcast joke contest, all you have to do is head over to my website, collidekidspodcast.com, and click the tab at the top that says kids only, or you can find information about how to send it to me through my social media. I'm on Facebook at the Collide Kids Podcast or on Instagram at Collide Kids Pod. And I would appreciate so much if you would support the podcast by leaving a rating and a review on whatever podcast you're using, and follow this podcast on your apps as well as on social media. You can also share the episode with friends and family and let them know why you like to listen. Or you can go by my website and click the link at the top that says buy me a coffee. And anytime you think about it, I always appreciate your prayer as well. Well, I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope that you are enjoying the spring weather wherever you are. If you cannot tell, I have a little bit of an allergy situation, but I'm still enjoying going outside. So get outside, get some fresh air, and in case no one has told you today, I would love to be the first to remind you that God loves you so much. Thanks for listening.
You don't have to go very far looking for bad news because somehow it just finds you. So finding peace in the chaos can be really difficult, but it doesn't have to be because the River mobile app exists. The River is a Christian music radio station dedicated to playing music to help you get through life's toughest moments or life's happiest moments and everywhere in between. And all from artists who love Jesus and are real people just like you. Listening is easy. You can download it wherever you get apps from. Just search 1049 The River or listen online at riverradio.com. And know that The River is proud to partner with the Collide Kids Podcast.